Hello, this is Professor Gruhn, and we are in ICM590 Project Planning. And this week's module is talking about time estimates. And to be honest, I hate time estimates. It is the biggest, most necessary evil in all of project planning. Think about it. You need to know how long it's going to take you to get from point A to point B. If I needed to drive to Boston, it's going to take me a couple of hours, 2.5 hours, and I have to allocate time for that. If I was going from Hartford to Boston, I'd probably even give myself 3 hours just to be safe, because you can never know about traffic and things like that. And in a project where time is money, time estimates are so important that the project is needing to know how many developers, how much time, and that time is going to end up transferring into dollars. Because if somebody's getting paid $50 or $100 an hour, and it takes 1 hour or 6 hours, that's a big difference. So time estimates are vitally, vitally important. However, I hate time estimates. I hate the whole process. And here's why. We're right now in this phase at Yale where they are planning for fiscal 2015, and they're getting their projects defined. Now, that's all based upon a budget. So they have ideas. They have a high-level idea, barely a project definition. I want to build a house. Well, now my boss and my boss's boss, they're coming to me and say, how long will it take you to build the house? Do you know what the house is going to look like? No. Do you know what type of materials you want the house to be? No. So on and on and on. Everything that I ask them for, and they say, well, just tell me how long is it going to take you to build my house? Well, what's the house supposed to look like? And so now what happens is I get a little of an idea, and I'll think and I'll imagine about what this program and this process might entail. So I'm going to say it's going to take me 3 weeks to do a given project. But that's 3 uninterrupted weeks, and nobody at all bothers me. Well, guess what? That's not life. As all of you know as students, you say, I'm going to do this homework assignment, and I just need a couple of hours, 2-3 hours to do it. Well, you sit down 2 or 3 hours, and the next thing you know, your wife, your child, your boyfriend, your girlfriend interrupts you, and all of a sudden takes you away. And then you got to come back and then get restarted again. The phone rings, or then you just realize, oh, a TV show is on that I wanted to watch, or something happens. You know, there's tons of interruptions. So I have a rule of thumb. Take the time that you think it will take and multiply it by 3. So I think something's going to take me 3 weeks or 3 hours. That turns into 9. And then add 30%, which would then be another 3 weeks, and that turns into 12. So a 3-week project is going to be 12 weeks. So that actually turned into 3 months. So I'll tell my boss, it'll take me 3 months. Oh, no, I can't take you that. I think you can do it in 3 weeks. And I never even mentioned 3 weeks to him. I was like, well, go put what you want anyways, because what you need to do is you need to lie to the people up above so your project can get approved. And then what happens is they get committed to the project. You're into the project. You've already allocated resources, time, and money. The project actually ends up taking 12 weeks, 3 months, and then they're just going to bitch and complain at you because you went over budget and over time. And then what you do, just to kind of rub it in your boss's face and the project manager's face, you say, here's the email I sent you at the beginning of the project when you were defining it, where I told you I think it was going to take that. But they don't like that at all. Now, as far as the kitchen project, the time element is a little different, because basically the only person I'm really accountable to is the CEO, Donna. And we have set milestones as guidelines, and we have an idea of how much work we needed to do to tear down the walls and paint. And we basically gave ourselves the weekend. And we knew that we actually didn't finish it on the blue painting until we needed another night. I think it was Tuesday night that we actually got that final coat in. But we were well ahead of schedule in that. So we've planned these milestone marks in large gaps, knowing that there's going to be some room. And I think you need to do that when you talk about your time estimates. Now, time estimates is not necessarily at this stage, is not actually at the scheduling of the time, but it's amount of time and work that you think it will take you to do. I think it will take me 3 hours to paint the living room. I think it's going to take me 3 to 4 hours to finish that small wall. I think it's going to take me 4 or 5 days to do the flooring. So those types of things. Now, which 4 or 5 days, which 3 hours I actually do the work, that happens in the project management and scheduling of the various events. So a lot of times we talk about the mythical man hour or the man day, and that the mythical man hour, the mythical man day is basically the amount of effort, the amount of time if one person had uninterrupted to do it. And I want to also talk about the difference between the amount of time to do the work versus the duration that it takes to do the work. So it might take 2 hours to do something, or it might take, let's say, 8 hours to do something. And that 8 hours might actually happen over a week or over 6 weeks, or over 8 weeks. You might do it an hour a week. And there's times that sometimes because of the project, because of the planning, that you say, oh, that's only a 10-hour job, or that's a 2-hour job. But when you do it and the duration of that time, that's a lot different. So when we're estimating time, we're really estimating billable hours. We're really estimating the amount of effort and work to do it versus the duration of time that it takes to have that work done. You know, the duration of time for a woman to bear a child is 9 months. And no matter how many men you put onto the project, it's still going to take her 9 months to have that child. And that, I mean, all the effort and all the stuff around that, you can't change it. It's not like you can add 9 men to it and be able to put it all down and get it done in 1 month. So duration and effort and the actual work effort, all of those are factors when estimating time. At this stage of the game, as you have your work breakdown structure in place, you have your tasks and your list that you want to accomplish at a high level. How long do you think in a perfect world it will take you to do that, accomplish that? And then you better add some. Add the buffer, add the fluffer, add the fluff. Like I said, for me, it's, multiply it by 3 and then add 30%, because that ends up always being the reality. And maybe you get lucky. Maybe you get lucky and it'll take, you get a little bit less, and maybe it only ended up, instead of being, I use the model of saying 3 weeks turns into 12 weeks, maybe it turned into 10, and you end up a winner on that. But typically, the boss and the customer always want it done in less time. I can remember a boss I had back at Nelson Marketing. Geez, this was over 20 years ago. His name was Dick Nelson, an incredibly brilliant guy, and he would be the type of person that would wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and come up with a great idea. And he figured that just because it took him 15, 20 minutes in the morning to figure out this great idea, that it should take me maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour or two to actually implement his idea. So just because a person thinks about how long something should take, you really do need to think about the tasks that would be attached to the work breakdown structure to actually implement it. Also, make sure that in your work breakdown structure that you are detailed enough to understanding what it really means. And that, if I said paint a house, paint a room, and the terms in my work breakdown structure are so generic that it could be 1 hour, 1 day, or 3 weeks, try to get as much clarity as you can on that so that your time estimates can be made better. Because ultimately, time is money. And ultimately, the people who are preparing the projects, and you need to be able to bid your quote out to your customer, out to your boss, out to whoever is the stakeholder who's going to be paying for it. Um, they need to get an idea of what it's going to cost. I mean, think about it. If you were going to have your car painted, have somebody shampoo the carpet on your floor, do any sort of work for you, before you hire them, you want to get an idea of what it's going to cost. And for them to provide you a good costing for what you're going to pay, what you would pay for that service, they have to have in their mind some good time estimates to the various tasks and that they're going to accomplish. So as you think about for your project, now for your project for the final for the ICM program, you might not be paying anybody other than yourself. But really think about the amount of effort. You're building your task, you're setting your milestone, you've got some guidelines to what it is you want to create. Now start thinking about what's it really going to take to get this done. And then all of a sudden you're going to go, oh my God, this project's getting pretty big. Just like this class and any other class and any other project you've ever done in life, you've got some great ideas and some great things happening, but that onion unfolds and it becomes more and more and more. We were talking about that with our kitchen project, how it's becoming one of those blooming onions, and I'm saying, well, what's really happening is becoming a blooming checkbook, but that's another story. And we'll actually get more about that story as we talk about the actual implementation of these time estimates into work. It's a hard task, and a lot of times knowing up front before you have the details, and the more details you have about a given set of tasks, the more accurate. And the more you do it, you get better at it. I've been programming and developing, and I know the tool sets that I use, and a lot of times a lot of the customers that I provide work for, they're asking for the same thing, so I can get pretty close most of the time. So experience definitely is a key thing for providing time estimates. Oh no, look what time it is. I gotta go watch TV. I'll catch you guys later.